The mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, caused shock and outrage across the country. 17 people died, and the tragedy spurred an unprecedented outpouring for greater gun control. Over the last few months, there has also been an increase in demand for active shooter insurance. This kind of coverage is now being offered by a company based in Ohio.
The traditional general liability policy requires a lawsuit to respond to, and we didn't want to wait for that. So we wanted to take care of the day one problems of the victims, and then also the day one problems of the organization as far as lack of revenue and business income loss.
The program covers the complete teardown and rebuilding of structures impacted by a shooting. 300 school districts have now signed on, with 60 policies activated since July. The cost is around 50 cents per student or teacher, so a school district of 3,000 people will cost about $1,500 a year to insure.
Although some onlookers may be surprised that these kind of insurance policies exist, lawyers argue such coverage is essential, but that schools also need to consider other measures.
If you don't have a plan in place and then you haven't practiced that plan, that would be catastrophic from a legal perspective. That's the first thing, you know, that a student or a faculty or staff who've been harmed by that school shooter are going to point to, that you didn't prepare for this. This is a risk that's pretty well known, and you didn't prepare us for that.
Glenn Nixon works for a company that specializes in security systems. As much as the focus is on prevention, he believes schools need to have a thorough contingency plan.
It's unfortunate, but there's a huge, huge burden on society when something happens. And it's not a fact of if, it's a fact of when. We prepare for the worst case scenario so we can avoid the worst case scenario. Unfortunately, we have to have insurance to address these because it is a growing epidemic.
Skeptics will say the insurance is only a reactive measure, but insurers say it offers financial help at a time when it's needed most.
I think the question that the public is asking is, how are you going to help the victims that were in your care, custody, control? And I think the school systems or government entities need to have a response. They just can't sit on their hands and hope that the public creates a GoFundMe account. That's not acceptable anymore.
As the US continues to debate gun control and ways to stop mass shootings, school districts across the country appear to be preparing for every eventuality. Dan Williams, CGTN, Dayton, Ohio.